Hello everybody, I hope this finds you well and looking forward to the bank holiday weekend coming up this weekend. I'm going to start off today as I normally do, just by talking a bit about the COVID numbers, and then I'm going to talk about the visit that we had yesterday from the new Cabinet Secretary, and also say a bit about the work we've been doing to review our resilience arrangements and get some feedback on how things have worked during the pandemic. So we'll start off first of all by talking about the numbers. The inpatient numbers are down, only 6 patients across the 3 acute hospitals today, which is great news. Nobody in our intensive care units, and unfortunately 2 outbreaks in care homes. 68 new cases yesterday, which is an increase overall. We had seen 90 the day before, but prior to that we'd been about 30 a day, so that is an increase. And most of those new cases are in younger people. Very few of them are in anybody over 60. So it does seem to be younger people that are catching COVID at the moment. And I suppose that leads me to say just remain vigilant, particularly with the bank holiday weekends coming up. Do as much as you can do outside. I think it is meant to be better weather this weekend, so if you can be outside with your friends and family, try and do that as the first option. This particular variant is hugely contagious compared to the previous ones, so just take extra steps and just still wear your masks if you're inside at all, and keep your distance outside, and don't forget basic things like your hand washing. I wanted then just to say a few words about the visit from our new Cabinet Secretary yesterday. We were delighted to have him visit University Hospital Monklands yesterday morning. So Humza Yousaf, who's just taken up role really this week as the new Cabinet Secretary. It was his first visit to any hospital in Scotland, so it's quite an honour for us to host him. And he spent quite a lot of time with staff. He went round our intensive care unit and spoke to people in Monklands there, and he also spent quite a lot of time speaking to a whole range of staff about their experiences of COVID and what he could do to help and support them. Quite a focus on well-being, also some conversation obviously about remobilisation. But I think he was quite interested in the numbers. We talked about the fact that Monklands has had over 1,000 COVID cases since the beginning of the pandemic, and that almost sadly 300 patients have died, and that's a lot of death to cope with. And just talking to some of the staff myself, I was quite struck by how many deaths some of these staff have had to deal with during that pandemic and what effect that has had on them. And I know they are accessing well-being. They've actually quite complimentary about the well-being support that they've had from spiritual care team and peer support and others. So that's good, but I think we just need to recognise that our staff do need time for rest and relaxation and just processing everything that's happened. Finally, I just wanted to say something about the live from the boardroom sessions that we've been holding over the last couple of weeks. We've now had a session with the team from Wishaw, and we've also had a session with the 2 partnership management teams and colleagues. So live from the boardroom sessions mean that the corporate management team meets virtually with the teams either in Wishaw or one of the other hospitals and the local health and social care partnerships. And in those sessions, we were just sharing some reflections on how we mobilised, how our resilience arrangements worked, what the lessons were that we learned, how would we do things differently going forward, where were we at with well-being of staff, and also what people were proudest of. And actually, these sessions are usually an hour and a half long. But the bit that always gets me is when people do start to talk about what they're proudest of over the last year and how their teams have just really performed and shone during that period. And it's absolutely lovely to hear. So some great stories actually coming out of those sessions, but also some really practical things about how we would do things differently if we do. Hopefully we won't, but if we do get any more waves of COVID going forward. So hopefully that'll be useful for us in terms of our resilience arrangements. So I'll end there today. I hope you all have a great weekend when it comes, and those of you that got the Monday holiday off, enjoy it, but please stay safe.